Hey everybody, thanks for joining. I'm your host, Chris Gennaro. My co-host is Rizk on the bottom, and today we have Angerot. How you doing, guys?
Doing great.
Doing great here, man. Thanks for having us.
Cool, you're welcome. Thanks for coming on. I guess let's just start out with who you guys are, names, and what you do.
Jason Ellsworth, right here, bearded guy, and do guitar and backing vocals live.
I'm Bill Zaugg, bass and also live backing vocals.
I'm CR Pettit, play guitar and vocals.
Do you like CR better than Chad? Doesn't matter.
I do, but you can.
Okay.
I mean,
we'll go for CR. That's
go.
okay. So you had an album out on Redefining Records. It kind of makes sense because just your sound, and we've known some of the other bands that we've had on here, so it sounds like that's probably a really good fit. The Define Apostate is a really great death metal record. Let's start off by talking about some of the guest appearances you had, because just in talking with you guys, I know that there's some interesting people that you've had on there.
Yeah, it's a big part of what we've kind of done since we've started is kind of that camaraderie and that brotherhood of we've been playing for 30 years, and the things that I really think about in early death metal is guest spots and feature spots and those type of deals, and we talked about it on our first record about having guests on there, and now it's just kind of, we've done it for our last two albums. It's kind of what we do, but it's some of the funnest stuff through the recording process. You kind of get your vision of what the album sounds like, and then, when you start working with outside musicians who are incredibly talented and have their own vision, their own unique take on what we do, it's really, in my personal feeling, it's some of the most exciting stuff when we go through. By the time you get to the guest spots, you've gone through the material a million times.
Exactly.
So it gives you a great fresh feeling on things. And, every single time we've done it, it ends up being, I love it and stuff. So this, on Apostate, we worked with a couple people and God, it's just awesome. Great, between Snowy and Terrence and Ben, it's great people, great contributions.
Okay. So just, and it's funny because I think sometimes when I'm listening to stuff, I don't know the names of the people. So, and then I get embarrassed about it. When, certainly interviews, people are like, "Oh, it's Terrence." And I'm like, "Oh, who is that?" And then they'd be like, "The guy from Suffocation." I'm like, "Oh, okay. That makes sense to me."
Yeah, that was one that blew me away, that Terrence was down to do it. It's like, no shit. Okay. Fucking A. And now on our first record, the guests we had were like, you're fucking kidding me. These guys are going to do this situation with LG Petrov and James Murphy. Like, what? And Terrence Hobbs coming in and Ben Shaw from Carcass, right there was amazing. And then Snowy did his thing, which is bonkers and scary. I don't know. Is that the word?
Yeah, it's the thing that we deal with guest spots is, I'll basically just have a good long discussion about what we're trying to achieve, but then telling them that to take the song as theirs and just do whatever they feel. And, everyone kind of tackles it a little bit different. When we gave stuff to Ben, we got it back and it was like tracks throughout the whole song, and then we can kind of dial it to where we need it. And Snowy did the exact same thing to where we get it, and it's 10 times what we would expect, but it's great in a sense that, we're not putting a leash on anyone saying, hey, we need you on, the second measure for these 15 seconds and then come in and do a lead here for whatever. It's just, hey, take the track and make yourself part of the band for, 4 minutes.
Well, the people we're contacting to do these guest spots, we're contacting them because we love what they've done. And why would we pigeonhole them into what we want them to do? Fuck that. Do what you're going to do. That's why we asked you.
Sure. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned James Murphy. Obviously, that's a name I know, right, without having to be told. But and when I listen to your stuff, like I got to think that he's an influence on you guys, because I hear there's definitely some of that. There's his solos and stuff. I can hear a little bit on your records.
Well, I think I can speak for all of us that he's played on some of our favorite death metal records ever. I mean, from Death Spiritual Healing to Obituary Cause of Death,
Disincarnate,
Cancer, Dust Shall Rise, Disincarnate, Dreams of the Carrion Kind. He played a guest lead on Gorguts Considered Dead from 1991. I mean, he was in Testament on the Low album and on The Gathering.
He's an encyclopedia.
So, I mean,
Clearly.
So he's definitely a guy that, I mean, anything he does, I've got to hear it, So, and then he just did a post here recently where he had we sent him a T-shirt, and he actually posted it, and like Ben, he did an unboxing of the Angerot when he got it, and it's, I think, it's super cool for us because we're getting to play with some of these legends or being a part of our project. I mean, and at the end of the day, they seem very excited about it as well. They're honored to be asked at the same time. And that's like, wow, it's cool.
I feel like anybody who's watching this interview and who is in a death metal band has already got like their email open and like trying to figure out how they can contact James Murphy. He's probably going to be cursing you guys out later. Like, what the fuck? My email, I got like 10,000 people trying to contact me now.
He does quite a few guest leads from what I see.
Yeah. To me, it's the final product is great, but the experience of the whole process, even when we, I think one that'll always be special for us is, LG's guest spot. And it was surreal as it was happening. I had to line up a friend of mine to give him a ride to the studio because he didn't have a car. And so I had to have one of my friends who lives over in Sweden go pick him up and take him to the studio over there. And it's just memories that I'll have forever, and how tremendously awesome he was and willing and excited to be a part of something from a band that he knows nothing about. Obviously a massive influence on me as an individual, but us as a band as a whole. But he really overextended himself to travel way out to do things and then to even from that point, when he was going through his last stages of life, made a comment and reposted about how awesome it was to do the guest spot. And it's kind of heart-wrenching and really touching. And I mean, for me, LG is an icon among icons, and for him to say that about working with us was, I don't think you can get a better accolade than something like that.
He posted that like a month before he died, or something like that. I mean, it was
touching.
Yeah. Good word.
Yeah, that one, like I said, blew me away. There's not much as far as what influenced me in, early death metal, what I was listening to and still listen to. There's only a couple other vocalists besides LG Petron that I can put up there with him. And one of those guys has also passed away a long time ago. So it's an honor to have him, and to be as cool as he was with it.
Wow, that just sort of took the interview down.
Yeah, sorry to.
Whatever, he's wherever he's at, drinking a ghost beer and laughing at us.
Yeah.
I know you guys have an album coming out, not an Angerot album, but that two of you worked on an album from a side project called Empty Throne that I think is releasing soon. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's actually being released tomorrow, which is Friday, May 7th. So it'll be out on Wise Blood Records. It's a 3-song EP. Yes, it's only 3 songs, but it's 23 minutes long. So the joke we were talking about is it's only 5 minutes shorter than Rain and Blood from Slayer. So, so yeah, me and CR are doing that. He's doing vocals. I actually can switch from guitar to bass. Kind of a project that I guess you'd say we kind of stumbled upon with a guy that was formerly in Possessed named Mike Party, who just happened to move out here about a couple years ago, and we'd met him, and he was also in a pretty legendary early black metal band called Ritual from California. They were like one of the first U.S. black metal bands. I mean, you're talking early to mid '90s. You know, they did quite a few. I think 3 albums maybe. And then he was in a band called Draconis, and then moved out here with his daughter, and we met him and got to talking and put this project together. And Chad had a source that he reached out to Gabe Sieber, our drummer, who's in California. He's currently in the Kennedy Vale. He's been with Abbott. He's been with Decrepit Birth. Power Glove, yeah, the video game band. That's pretty interesting. So, I mean, he's just a unworldly drummer. So yes, this is being released tomorrow, and we're very excited for it. It's definitely way different than Angerot. It's what's the title? A Hellish Blackened Death Thrash. Hellish Blackened Death Thrash is kind of what our label has kind of said about us, which is perfect. It's a little bit of black metal, a little bit of death metal, a little bit of thrash metal. Put those in a blender, and you pretty much get Empty Throne. So, yep.
Cool. And then your drummer couldn't be with us today. I know he was new to the band, so I guess let's maybe work into how he joined. And I know that he tracked like a whole mess of stuff for you, not only the second album, but it sounds like most or all of the third album.
Yeah, Matt he's like, we were just talking about this tonight, just kind of how fortunate we were to, when our previous drummer moved, that we were able to connect with Matt. Being as we live where we do, having someone that can fill the shoes that we needed filled is a really hard, it's just a hard thing to achieve. And we obviously, from the first album to the last record, really wanted to take things up a notch. And when we knew that we were going to be looking for a drummer, I had it in my head of a guy that I wanted to reach out to, which is Matt. He used to play in a band called Bleth out of Omaha, and our previous band had played with them several times, and he just really impressed me on a lot of levels. I mean, he's a young kid that plays like an old school metal drummer. You know, he hits hard, but it's not all overly technical, baby tap tech drumming. Like, he's an old school metal drummer, and he had kind of disappeared off the grid, and I had to do some tracking to get him, just to locate him. And we were just lucky, to have him in the band. He's a great dude. He's very much on the same page with us, and he brings a good spirit to the band. He's probably 10 years younger than us, but 15.
He's more than 10 years younger
10,
than
we'll
us.
say 10. But he's just very enthusiastic, and like I said, he's a great fit for what we do. And he makes the trip without question, and really, I think, brings us to the next level of what we can be. And when we started recording, per your question, when we started recording, we had two things in our head. Was, okay, we got to record this record, and then we got to get him caught up on the previous record at the same time. So Matt's got to learn basically 2 albums worth of material, and then go through the studio right away. We threw him into the studio, just as uncool as that is. It's like, here's the songs that we have, here you go. But so we planned on, okay, we're going to do this record, and then we're going to have to back it up with shows, and who knows when album number 3 is ever going to be ready to do at that point. So what we decided to do was send him into the studio. And now when I look back, I was like, God, we were so brutal, because, hey, Matt, guess what? You're recording 2 albums at once. Welcome to the band, and he fucking did not disappoint. He jumped in and, you know, learned all 14 tracks and went in and knocked it out of the park. And you know, so he did both albums at one time. So we basically were halfway done with album number 3 when we finished album number 2.
Wow. That's crazy. That's a crazy way to work on stuff.
I know, right? And it's like, I pushed it pretty fucking hard, and then now I look back and I'm like, God, that was totally rude. But he's just, you know, he's incredibly capable, and I think it really, in hindsight, it really brought him into things, you know, putting him in full blast, you know, and forcing him to become a member and not just a session drummer. Like he is, you know, he spent a lot of time not only in person but on the phone and over emails and over everything. It was every day, all the time, just to get him to that point, and it brought him into the fold quick. So, but the other good part in thinking about it now is, you know, the new record is slated for 22, but it's giving us all this extra time to really flush it out and to experiment a lot more. You know, there's a big gap between Splendid and Divine in progress, I think there is, and experimentation and figuring what we're capable of doing. And I think the gap between Divine and the new album is going to be probably double that. You know, just the time we have to flush things out and to experiment and see what we're capable of doing now, because we recorded both albums at the same time. It's a huge benefit in hindsight, in different ways than we expected.
You talked about experiment. You guys do like some soundtracky stuff, you know, at the beginning, the intros and outros a little bit. I'm looking through my notes because you had one noise. I couldn't even figure out what the fuck it was, whether it was a trumpet or something. Lessons with Wickedness, I think it was. There was like some really weird noise. I would love to know what the heck that was.
It's the hell siren. It's Gabriel's trumpet.
Wait, no.
But it's that endless hunt for something different, you know, just off the wall. And it's funny how you mentioned, like, on Divine, a lot of that stuff is not necessarily all interlude based, but it's pre and post the actual song structures. And I think the biggest difference going when this third album is it's more parts of the music now. So those type of oddities are actually intertwined in the music itself and part of the structure.
We talk about having, like, especially with this third album, but I'm sure we did on the second album too. I don't even know if we said it, but each song needs to have its certain gem element to it that I guess is in the eye of the beholder, which of course is us, since we're in it. But it has to have that gem in there that just really kind of makes us as a listener to it to go, you know, wow, you know, we're trying to put as much thought as we can into this to really enhance the songs as much as possible. Because, you know, to write a song and play guitars, bass, and drums, I mean, that's cool. But we're trying to do more than that. You know, we're trying to give it some soundscapes and some layers, and just to try to make it the best it can be, you know, because that's kind of the band we are and kind of what we've become, I think. You know, I suppose you'd say the first album was pretty stripped down, you know, and that doesn't mean we're still not an old school influenced, Swedishly influenced death metal band that has its roots in Florida death metal, but, you know, we want to kind of put our own twist on it, I guess, is what you would say.
So Eric, come on.
I have some questions. Yes. What? All right. How'd you guys hook up with Redefining Darkness Records?
We worked with Black Market on our first album, and it was good intent, and I think it kind of is stereotypical of, you know, small label relationships. Is you have your hopes of what a label is going to help bring to the table, and he's a good dude, but I just don't think he was able to do the things that we were hoping to do. And then we played a few shows with Mutilated by Zombies?
Mutilated by Zombies.
And I had kind of done some research on labels that were, you know, maybe a bit more aggressive in their marketing approach and a little bit more selective in the bands that they're putting out. You know, we're getting into that day and age. We've been in that day and age where, I mean, you can bust out an album in a weekend if, you know, the technology is there for you.
Yeah.
And I just wanted a little bit more focus. So there was very few labels that I was really interested in working with. And I talked to the guys in Mutilated and asked them what they thought of the label and Thomas as an individual. I'm a big purveyor of communication. I think a lot of things can be accomplished if the communication's there. And they had nothing but praise to say about Thomas. So I reached out to Thomas and just kind of poked around, and we had a good handful of conversations, and turns out that Thomas and I are very much the same person. Each of us are very entrepreneurial and a little bit more unafraid of trying new things and in being involved in new ventures. And we hit it off very well in a friendship base, and he kind of was very well aware of our first record, and you know, we just kind of hashed through it as far as where we as Angerot wanted to go, and I wouldn't say, I would more say just expand on where we were coming from, understanding, you know, that where our first record was is not where we want to be. But he was all on board and very receptive of it, and willing to do a lot of the things that we had interest in kind of pursuing for the next record and helping us get there. And, you know, I absolutely do not regret it one bit. Thomas is a fantastic human being, and he's very, very, very supportive of what we do. So it's I would honestly say, with all of the labels that I've had interminglings with, that Thomas is probably top notch, you know, right up there where I have no desire to look for anything else, you know.
So they'll put out the 30 album too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. And, you know, like I said, I couldn't be happier with how supportive he is of what we do, you know, and you kind of get worried sometimes as you're moving on the next record, like, are you keeping up with where you were the previous record? Or, you know, we're trying to push things so much farther that is it getting too weird? And, you know, so when he sent demo tracks to Thomas, it's like, hey, kind of check this out. And he's super thrilled on where we're headed and where we're going. So, you know, it's reassuring. You know, you look at, okay, you got your band members in your band, so there's the four of us, but Angerot's not really just four people. You know, no band is, no functioning band that actually does things. You know, our fifth member is Thomas at the label, and our sixth member is our engineer that we have grown to absolutely love, and people who get what Angerot is about and can help us achieve what our full potential, you know.
The engineer you mentioned, did he work with you on both albums? Was he on both?
No, we used Skogsberg, Left Hand Path fame, you know, all the
okay.
Sunlight, Thomas Skogsberg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Studios, right?
Yeah, we kind of had that vision of that Swedish death metal, and we went to the originator who recorded
Wow.
for the first album. And then we went a different direction and really lucked out to find Andreas.
Yeah.
So Andreas Linneman, because he's from Denmark, and we kind of discovered him through a band called Beast. It's spelled Baest.
Based.
Not sure if you've heard of them. They're on Century Media Records, and they're just really, really an awesome band. And we just like, man, if we could get somebody to mix our album like this, you know. So, and he's just been so receptive, and he's just a great guy. And we just absolutely love working with him. We have such a great relationship that I think it's going to last forever, as long as we're still doing this.
We truthfully, absolutely consider him the 5th member of this band.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of those things again where, you know, for the first time ever with working with a producer, we go to him for advice. We go to him for insight. We go to him because he knows how to make us be what we are trying to be. And his insight and vision spans past just pushing buttons, you know, and mixing an album. He knows what we're trying to accomplish. And we're just lucky as hell.
Does he have ideas, like even with like some, I don't know, like a arrangement or a part, like, well, I'll try that part here, anything like that with hand in producing? Or
to a certain degree, he's not really like overstepping bounds in that regard.
Sure.
I think moreover, I present him with a lot of issues, you know, just, you know, vocal arrangements and vocal placement and, you know, that what feels right type of deal. And I'm not afraid of criticism in that regard. I mean, I think, again, once you are writing an album and you go through those stages, after you hear shit 10,000 times, you go deaf to what's happening. And so I will, you know, with the new material that we're working on, especially this next record, is throwing things out there like, does that sound wrong? Does it sound right? Does it? And you know, he's very he's an easy critic in that sense, where he just has a way of saying things to you that doesn't. It's not like, no, buddy, you did that wrong. It's like, hey, let's try this. Let's try to go this way with things, you know. So to a degree, yes, you know, I don't think so much as far as like song arrangements,
Sure.
but definitely he's a contributor on his own ideas to what the song should be. But it's, I don't know, man, we're just lucky as hell that we have the relationship we do with both Thomas and Andreas, because it's, I consider them part of what we do.
For sure.
You guys mentioned the Florida sound and the Swedish sound, and I definitely hear that stuff on both your records. So I was kind of interested that when I went back and listened to some of the Suffer stuff, I was kind of expecting the same, and it's not. I mean, I guess if you probably don't listen to that much death metal, maybe it does sound the same, but to me, it like I was hearing like a heavy Carcass influence on that record, the Conobine one. I shake your head, so I assume you agree with that.
Oh, yeah. To Suffer was kind of a little bit of just a quick back history on that. So we started in 1989, and kids, you know, it was
very young.
You know, death metal itself had barely even reached where we live at that point. I mean, it was such a baby in as a genre, but you know, most of the stuff that was coming here, we were barely getting our fingertips on. So we kind of made it up as we went. And so that's probably why it sounds so different is it's really youthful in that regard, and it's really raw. But a lot of Concubine, I think, was written in like that 94 to 96, 94 to 96 era. And then we demoed a lot of that stuff and didn't actually go back to release it until 2015. Yeah.
Oh shit! So it was really that old. Some of that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very old, yeah. And kind of a weird little insight is like I did all the vocal work on all the Suffer stuff, but I had never even done any lower range vocals until Angerot.
We actually had, so I was part of a different band, and we had a different singer, and Chad kind of came in, and it just created this whole, it started off a different side project, and then it just kind of created this whole band, and that became Suffer. And we had a singer doing lower gutturals, and every once in a while Chad would do these high screams, and then pretty soon it was time for that vocalist to go and to let Chad have full reign. And yeah, everybody, we were all green at what the fuck we were doing, but it was amazing. Like you said, youthful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because having played, like I was saying before, you know, I'm old like you guys. That's not disparaging it, you know, but and
Seasoned.
it was just so weird how much the metal scene changed from like the mid 80s to like the early 90s. And you know, if you were in a band at the time, it was like almost hard because you started out playing like this thrash stuff that was influenced by like, you know, yet like Merciful Fate, which is funny that you end up playing with one of those dudes or having a guest spot. But like, you know, then you had your Anthrax and your Testament, and then you're trying to like figure out where all that shit is going.
Dude.
And then
I think it was literally 1 year we're playing a Metallica cover, or I was with our drummer, you know, playing a Metallica cover song, and a year later you're writing fucking death metal songs.
yeah,
That fact for us.
Yeah.
no, I had the same exact experience, like doing a cover tune of For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Exactly.
And then, you know, fucking Napalm Death comes out and you're like, holy shit.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a moment in time that that's kind of an iconic moment in Suffer that really changed our perspective on what extreme music was. Is Matt Jacobson, who was founder of Relapse, is from Sioux Falls originally. His parents lived here forever, but we were rehearsing and he stopped by to check out the band, and you know, we talked about potentially doing some things together, and he brought Human Waste, the first Suffocation EP over that they had just released, and was like, hey, you gotta hear this. And it was this one of the most defining moments of my experience with metal is when he popped it in, and the first track on the EP is just like, you know, when Frank starts singing, it's like, what the fuck is that? You know, that the articulation and the power and the rawness of that it's all those things in your head when you think it, you know, let's push this thing to be as extreme as possible, and then you realize you haven't even touched on shit yet compared to what Suffocation was doing, you know. And it really pushed, you know, from that point we were like, okay, we got to hit this thing 100 times harder than where we're at, you know. And but it's just kind of funny looking back on shit, you know, but the things that change your life when it comes to music, you know.
And we've said it before. I think kind of somewhere in there initially was your question about how it's so different from Angerot and what you were expecting. You know, we went into this going to like, we wanted to go back and kind of create into the style of what we grew up listening to and what we would want to sit and listen to. You know, we consciously think about that throughout the writing and recording process.
Yeah, we as much as we experiment on the new stuff, our roots are exactly what they are. They're not sugar coated by any stretch. I mean, we are extremely influenced by a lot of Swedish metal. We are extremely influenced by a lot of New York and Florida death metal, and incredibly proud of that fact that and lucky as fuck that we grew up in that era and we got to experience that as it blossomed, you know. Proud of it.
yeah, no, I feel the same way. And like, it's just weird. Like I'm, you know, like alive at such a cool time where I'm like, yeah, I got to see the internet being invented and I got to see death metal being invented. Like that's like I'm like, those are the two things. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny when and Matt will probably cringe at me for this, but when we hooked up with Matt, like we said, he's considerably younger, you know, 10, 15 years younger than what we are. And I gave him like a homework list. Here's your bands. Go do some history. It's way more intriguing and enjoyable than you could possibly imagine when you go back to the roots of death metal and how awesome they are. I mean, how varied they are and how experimental and brilliant they are. You know, you look at, even just take Florida as an example, you know, with Death, Obituary, Deicide, Morbid Angel, all these huge bands, and none of them sound like each other whatsoever. they're all bringing their own unique, spice. And now it's like that uniqueness is very tough to come by. And back then we took it for granted. Like every band was so different and so brilliant and so unique.
You knew who you were listening to when you put it in.
There was no question. That's a Deicide record. That's a Morbid record. So I made him do his homework. Like, go check this shit out. And I think it kind of changed his perspective on death metal and what Angerot was about too. Is like that knowing your roots and knowing your history is, I don't care what kind of music you're in. It's crucial.
Yeah.
You mentioned the third album, but then in talking to you guys prior, you also said that there was an EP that you were thinking about doing. So how does that figure into the plans?
We talk about all that?
I don't care.
We were going to do an EP.
Well, yeah, initially that was the plan is once we found out like the album, the third record's kind of get pushed a little bit because of all the shit that's going on. Mm-hmm. We thought, okay, well, I mean, our initial thing was like, let's just do a covers EP. How rad would that be? Like really kind of show what is really influential to us. And we kind of migrated away from that. Like, is that kind of cliche? Who knows? And then we recorded a live show that actually turned out really good, which is kind of a mix. We did some stuff off Splendid and some stuff off Divine, and turned out good. And once Andreas got his hands on that, the material sounds really good. And so we had an unreleased song that we didn't put on the first record, and then it's like, let's just take all this shit and put it together. So that was going to be the EP, right? Well,
it sounds like more than an EP's worth, though.
Kinda, it's like a max,
like eight songs actually.
But then Divine has sold really well. We've been fortunate enough to move some copies through without being able to play shows and stuff, but it's sold really well. So we're basically sold through our first run of Divine. So what we're going to do, so Thomas, if he doesn't want the world to know, I hope he doesn't kill me, but we're going to do a reissue of Divine that's going to have all this extra bonus material on there. And it's going to have some live tracks and some a couple tracks from Splendid era that are initially done by Skogsberg, that are going to be done by Andreas, kind of a good feel for how he would have done the first record. So it's just kind of a cool, all-encompassing, it's going to be called the Inverted Edition. We've got some kind of cool shit that we're doing with the artwork, but it's just going to have a lot of stuff. And we did decide to include one cover on there. And it's pretty badass. It's kind of unique. The drum tracks were done by the original, our original drummer and stuff. So it's kind of encompassing, taking from the beginning of Angerot to where we're going. I think it's
a nice bridge to the third album.
Yeah. And it's different, plus it's, try to keep the last record going since it came out in such a weird time, so.
Gonna be 5 live tracks is what we're looking at. One unreleased song from the Splendid sessions, and then one remix from the Splendid sessions, and one cover song is what we're looking at for extra.
I'm assuming you're purposely not saying what the cover song is, though, correct?
Under wraps. It's secret.
Yeah.
Come on, don't press them. Look at that.
Gotta be a secret.
We like to keep secrets as long as we can.
It'll be worth it. It's good.
But I think both album covers were by the same guy, John Zaugg, yes?
Yeah. Yep, not changing.
Nope, and we'll continue onward.
And the third one's done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The third one it's fantastic.
Okay, so you've already seen the art and it's already a done deal.
Yeah, but it's done. Yeah.
Zaugg is, God, he's an amazing talent, and obviously we're kind of creatures of habit. We find a label we like to work with, we're going to work with them. We find an engineer we like to work with, we're going to work with them. And that hasn't changed with Zaugg. And it won't change. We've actually got some long-term things that we've worked out, so Zaugg will be our man moving forward. He knocked it out of the park with this new one. So it's really cool. So
cool.
Go on.
Sorry, what?
No, go on.
I was gonna say, yeah, the scene in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. What's it like? Is it
Surprisingly good, actually.
Yeah,
I mean,
shocked.
we live in the middle of nowhere. We're in farm country pretty much. South Dakota wide open. The nearest big cities here are Minneapolis, which is 4+ hours, Omaha, which is 3 hours. But our metal scene here has been pretty strong. I mean, we started building this metal scene. Well, we weren't even the first, with Suffer in the early 90s. There was early metal bands here, Nightmare and Zister, and a lot of bands that were very much on the cusp of, that Possessed and early Mantis vibe. And but I like to feel like we really worked hard to build a metal scene here, and it never died. Even through the lull of death metal, there was still a very strong metal scene here, and it's no different now. So I'm incredibly happy with that, to where even when we've traveled and toured in the past with other bands, you go around and play Chicago or whatever, and you come back home and there's just as many people at a show in small Sioux Falls, South Dakota, as there was in Denver or Chicago or St. Louis or something like that. So it's always been that great stop, all the way back through the mid 80s, with a lot of the punk shows and bands like Neurosis and Green Day and Blink-182 and all those bands, played here, and it was a great mid stop for them between Omaha and Minneapolis. And they would sell well here. A lot of those bands would always say it's the place we sell the most merch. It's the place we make money here.
I actually just went to a show. We have one venue that supports metal. I mean, they have shows from everything from country, hip hop. They'll do whatever. Wrestling is there, but they love metal shows because all the metalheads show up and drink a bunch of beer, obviously, and are kind to each other and don't start shit. But I went to a show just a couple weeks ago where there was no bigger band on it. It was all local or from a few bands from Omaha, and there had to have been 200 kids there.
Wow?
I mean, the turnout was great.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Part of that also probably due to there's concerts again.
Yeah.
People have been waiting.
Yeah, people have been waiting, exactly. Yeah.
Surprisingly, just kind of been that way here.
Yeah.
On a tangent, and I don't want to go down this road too much, but isn't that the one thing that everyone's hoping for as a positive thing to come out of all this nonsense, is that maybe America can have a better appreciation for live music now that you've been grounded from it for a year? We'll go to shows and support live music once again. I think it's been a struggling cause here for quite some years, and I'm hoping that this is the kind of the kick in the ass that everyone needs. Like, you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Yeah,
absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, I think totally. There'll definitely be a surge, like with the movie theaters. Like, there's definitely like a surge because in most cities they're open in some capacity, and right when it's open, it's just everyone goes.
Right.
Same with concerts. When that touring starts again, I'm sure there'll be just pent up demand for it, and everyone will come out.
Man, I really do hope so, because when you're involved in traveling and playing shows, it's easy to understand, but I don't think a lot of people get it from an outside perspective on how crucial it is for a band's existence.
Especially in metal, especially in metal.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a ton of friends, in Scandinavia and stuff. They're not doing anything, and a lot of these bands haven't practiced. They haven't done anything. It's like holding on by a thread just to keep things together. And we're incredibly lucky because we never stopped here. But like that live aspect of things is the glue that bonds a band. Being able to perform and play in general, connect to fans. So we're looking forward to getting back into the grind again too. So
cool.
I had to Google what apostate meant. So that seems to be sort of like a what's an oxymoron, right? Yes, divine apoxate. I guess talk a little bit about your lyrical, what you got going on lyrically, I guess then.
Well, it's funny that you say that because that's basically the premise of the whole record is a lot of the hypocrisy within faith itself. Now, I think faith is a loose term because I think everyone needs faith in something. Okay, it drives you to be a better person. It drives you to be a better parent. It drives you to be a better contributor to whatever. But where divine apostate comes in is it's based on that premise of he who preaches loudest is the biggest failure, and so the claim of divine is almost the exact opposite, you know. So you know, the stretch to, you know, a lot of the major churches and certain faiths going down the kid toucher path, or, you know, who knows, it's almost like if you can dream it, it's what's happening, which is bizarre. And you know, taking to that point where the smoke and mirrors of what is holy, you know, and that's pretty much the premise of it. It's kind of funny that you picked up on the that's great. Good job.
Thank you. Just checking my notes here. We talked a lot about the can you talk about any of the guest appearances that we don't know about, or is that still more secret stuff?
I would say that's pretty secret stuff.
Top secret.
I was gonna say, yeah. Can you read that up there?
No.
Zoom in.
I know we have to blur it out. Someone will zoom in. They'll be like, "Oh, that guy."
Like
Okay.
in the movies where they're like,
I think what we could say is that we are looking at this point to have 4 on there. First album we had 2, second album we had 3, and now we have 4. So yeah, we have everybody.
And by the last album, will be featured on.
It's all guests.
yeah, are you guys even gonna play on the 5th album?
Oh man. We have one of them is completed that we've received back, and landing that one was, I mean, for me, probably arguably my favorite. I'll just say musician because I don't want to give anything away. But so instrumentalist. There's a hint. That one's not a vocalist, but yeah, you know, and just maybe to go back on, just to clarify for people that, because when you said, well, Terrence, who's Terrence? Well, so you know, I'll just make this real quick, but the first album, and I know we kind of went down this, but it's nice for, you know, for people to know. Sometimes we say things and we don't really clarify, you know. So LG Petrov from Entombed, from Firespawn, Entombed AD, was on her first album. James Murphy, we talked about him with Death Obituary. We had Ben Ash, who was played with Carcass but never recorded with Carcass, and he plays with Satyricon live. Ben Ash was on The Divine Apostate. Snowy Shaw was on vocals, who we've already been through that. Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Dimmu Borgir, Notre Dame, Therion, Dream Evil. And then we had Terrence Hobbs from Suffocation do a guest lead. So yeah, we have 4 people slated for this next album, and we're super excited for it based on the names that we have. Yeah, we've been doing that since our last band. We started doing that on our final album. Started doing some guest spots, and like we've talked about, you know, some of these guys are obviously legends in death metal, and you know, when we're 40 years from now, when we're in the home, we can always say that we did this. You know, we had some of these people that we look up to that played on our album. You know, I mean, it's something that is near and dear to our heart. These people are near and dear to our hearts. Our music's near and dear to our heart. I mean, we've been listening to death metal since its inception. Obviously, you know, we've been playing it since the inception. I was a touch later to the game. I'm probably 94, 95 before I really started to get into it. I just wasn't really exposed to it a whole lot. I was in the early 90s, but So, yeah, I mean, it's just this music obviously still means a great deal to us, and the history of it means a great deal to us. So we're making some of this history come to light in some of these people, you know. And so it's super cool to us, and because I remember, you know, you mentioned Napalm Death. I remember getting Harmony Corruption, Napalm Death, and I remember John Tardy from Obituary and Glenn Benton from Deicide being on a track on there, thinking, how rad is that? Cool,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So that's, you know, I mean, there's been a history of it, like we talked about before. So maybe we're just continuing that trend, you know, in our own way. So it's exciting.
Yeah, this record is kind of cool. We've got 2 guests that we've never met before, that we share very similar interests in, and then we have 2 guests that are like very good friends of mine that I've known for, you know, a good handful of years now that are legendary. So I mean, they're right up there, and they're guys that are very dialed in with the things that we've done, you know, for the last probably 10, 15 years, I suppose. And you know, it's one of those where you just say, hey, we got room for you on the song, you want to be on? And they're like, fuck yeah. So that's, yeah. So it's, I'm excited. I think it's going to be, as far as guests go, we've had some great people on in the past, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But I think this record kind of is probably going to take the cake a little tiny bit.
Cool. I think we're getting that time. I did want, you know what, I did want to ask you about the Doom project though. That you said you had, Jason, you mentioned somewhere along the lines, I think, that you were working on a Doom project. No,
That might have you might have about Empty Throne at the time.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Just mentioned Empty Throne, but
Okay.
no Doom. I mean, I've always wanted to do one, but
Maybe this can be the inspiration.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Chris made a mistake, and then a Doom band will be born out of it. He's like, all right, we're gonna.
I love some Doom. I mean, my favorite band of all time is Black Sabbath, obviously, and I like Paul Bearer, for example, if you heard them guys. But
Yeah.
I like some Doom, but some of it I don't. Anyway,
I have a really short attention span, so I have a hard time with it.
cool.
Yeah, I do like Candlemass.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to plug before we wrap it up?
Anything we've got like pushing 30 items on our Bandcamp page. You can just simply go to www.angerot.com, and that's got everything. You can hear us there. We got our own YouTube channel. Of course, we got our own Instagram account, Facebook. Yeah, just check it out. We've done a couple videos off the first album, a couple off the second album, and yeah.
One thing that I do kind of want to add, back on the sad note, so I apologize in advance. We do have a show coming up here that we're going to kind of pay tribute to LG, and do he was on a track called Rivers of Chaos on the first record. So we fully backtracked him into the song. So we've got a little bit of a montage that we're doing at the beginning of the track, in tributes. He fully deserves every bit of it. And again, just, you know, the world is a little bit smaller of a place without him. So it's just kind of one of those things we want to pay our tribute to those who put us where we, you know, in this seat that we can enjoy what we're doing. So
Sure.
It's cool.
So we will be sharing that you know, once it's after the show and stuff. So we'll edit that down and share that as well. So
Yeah, we're filming our show coming up next Friday.
Friday the
Friday.
14th.
Yeah, we'll be filming it, so we're gonna do something with that footage for sure.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, really, I guess we'll wrap it up. I really appreciate you guys coming on and spending, like, I don't need, lost track of time already, but, you know, if you,
About 45 minutes, I think.
45 minutes.
Since you've been here.
Yeah, sorry.
No, just kidding.
no, we appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Absolutely. And we put all the links in the description if you don't see anything. anything we talked about, please go and check it out and click through and discover some new music. And we'll, you know, when we see the albums come out, we'll definitely plug it on all our stuff.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.